Greetings everyone, welcome wherever you are today. We're streaming live from Wilmington, North Carolina. Got a few people here joining me in person, so welcome. Today we're actually covering a program here and practicing the subject, if you will, a few subjects, put them together. Qigong For Peace, that is the title. This program is being sponsored by the Love, Peace, Amen Foundation, so a little shout out to them and thanks to them for making this possible for everybody today. So we are here hanging out at the Hilton Garden Inn. We're just up the road from the beach. We're going to jump into the subject of Qigong for Peace. So to start off, let's start with a practice. It's interesting because any practice that helps me, the individual, is a practice that's going to help you. I want you to think about that in the context of your own life. Any practice that helps you as an individual, that is going to help other people around you. So watch what I'm going to do right now. See, I wouldn't have to say this out loud. I could just do it and sneak it in, but I'm actually going to do it very purposefully because I want you to hear it. I want you to think about it and think about what I'm doing. So the very first thing that you can do is go ahead with me and we're going to take 3 breaths. So I'm going to have you take 3 breaths. You're going to inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose or mouth. And a lot of times when I'm teaching programs like this, I'll be watching people. I can't exactly see you all right now, but I'll actually be watching people and they won't do the 3 breaths. They literally sit there, they're like a deer in headlights looking at me. So I'm going to pause with you, and wherever you are, if you've already taken 3 breaths, let's take 3 more together, because I also, as the teacher, I need to take my 3 breaths. So I'm going to pause with you. I'm going to inhale my breath through my nose. I'm going to exhale. I'm going to inhale again through my nose. And I'm going to exhale. And I'm going to inhale one more time. And I'm going to exhale one more time. Good. So this is always a good starting point. So I have a million things to teach you. I'd love to tell you everything today. I'd love to tell you everything I know. That's going to be impossible. But I want to share some things with you and hopefully help you from right where you are, because that's where we all have to begin. I often use this analogy of like, I would like to be able to go into the gym tomorrow and lift 500 pounds. I would. It's just one of those things I'd like to do, but I can't. So I have to start where I am. So maybe that starts with lifting 10 pounds. And many people in life as a whole, people are afraid to fail, right? We all are. We've been taught that failure is bad, success is good. And it's so ingrained in our consciousness that people are afraid to try. Like, that's how bad it has gotten for some people. We're afraid to try, to get better, to get healthy, to lose weight, gain weight, become more flexible. We're just afraid to try because we're afraid we're going to fail. So, I didn't plan on speaking this first, but I am. It's what I feel in the energy, and I always just speak to what I feel in the energy. So hopefully it resonates with you, and this gives you some encouragement. The pieces that I'm about to say next about this. So let's just look at that and understand that's the nature of the condition for many people, right? So then the answer would be try, and fail. Try and fail. Try and fail. Come back and try again. Fail a little more. Try again. But here's the beauty of what we're going to do with Qigong. Qigong is not like running up a mountain. It's not super, super hard. Our failures are not going to be like I fell down. Like if you went skiing and skiing was your thing, you might actually fall down, break your leg, and your failure could be pretty intense. But with Qigong, your failure is very, very minimal. Your chances of success are very, very high. But what we need is we need power timeouts in our life where we try and take 3 breaths. We try and practice a Qigong practice like some of the ones that I'm going to show you, and interrupt whatever momentum of stress or whatever it is that we have going on in our life. So without further ado, that's my little warm-up, little conversation. Let's jump right into the middle of some of that heat, so to speak, and practice a little Qigong together, and then we'll step back, have a little time out, have a little conversation. We're going to have some meditation practice today, going to give you some tools and some techniques to handle whatever is going on in your life. So I'm going to move this chair. Those of you that like to stand up and join me who are here, come on in. I'm going to put this over here. You guys at home, give yourself a little bit of space, give yourself a little bit of room. One of the beautiful things about Qigong, you don't need a lot of space to do it. You don't need your yoga mat. You don't need anything, okay? So from here, feet are going to be below the shoulders, all right? And this is going to be our little mini timeout. So just pretend, everybody just walk. I know it seems silly, but walk and turn yourself like this, turn yourself like this. This is just to indicate like you're going around in your life and you're going this way and then you're going that way. Everything's busy. You're running around. Your mind is busy. Now look, plug your feet in. 1, 2, stop. Stop everything. Bend your knees. And eventually, I promise you, if you practice this for a little while, those who have been practicing for a little while, they already know what it does. It starts to plug you in right away. It starts calming the mind right away. If you're a beginner, it will not do that just yet, but hang with me. I'll teach you how to do it. We're going to just go with the hands, slow motion, slow motion. We're going up like this. Don't worry about your breath. Leave it. Just let it be whatever it is. Slow motion with the hands. And then slow motion. Here now, I want you to exhale through your mouth and just, as you settle your weight slightly, okay? And then here, lifting up a little bit, just going a tiny bit quicker than we were the first time there. And then we're just inhale, exhale. So inhale goes in through the nose. Exhale. Notice that one, my exhale was a little longer. Inhale. In our school, we call this one the waterfall. So it's like you're standing in a waterfall. We go here, inhale. The water is coming down through the body, down through the body, down, down, down. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale, exhale. Excellent. Now just take your hands and start shaking them like this, okay? When you're shaking your hands like this is very good for the lymphatic system. We're going to shake this above the head here. It's also, we're going to brush the hands here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's also good to just free up some energy and make you feel better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the beauty of Qigong is even when you're not doing it exactly right or something, it still works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do it one more time. Shake, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, let the hands just kind of like rock out. So like they were rocking, swaying, and then they stop. And then right here, pause for just a moment. If you're a brand new beginner, keep your eyes open. If you've been practicing for a little while, we close our eyes here. That takes a little time, little practice. And then we pause for 60 seconds. That 60 seconds becomes a vacation. It's not a vacation in the beginning. The mind is too busy. The mind is thinking, thinking, thinking. But for those who've been practicing for a little while, they love this 60 seconds because they get this little mini vacation inside themselves, and it restores that sense of peace. My teachers would always say, right here when I was practicing this mini meditation, they would say to me, come back to yourself. And when they said come back to yourself, they were meaning capital S self, or what some spiritual teachers will call presence. Come back to yourself. Inhale, exhale. We're going to go into this easy exercise called the gentle drum. Anybody and everybody can do it, even if you're seated and you can't stand. We're moving like this, side to side. Feet are either flat or you're lifting up off of your heel, okay? And get a little swinging and swaying going here. And it's a light tapping on the body. Here is a very interesting detail when it comes to peace. I'm going to tell you a little secret that I didn't know for many years. It took me many years to discover this and be able to say it to you so simply. When energy in your body, and not just your body, inside your energy body, because with Qigong, we don't just work with the physical body, we're working with this phenomena called the energy body. When the energy in the energy body is stagnating, stuck, has resistance in it, okay? Then what happens is not only does the physical body enter into physical dis-ease, such as physical pain, but your mind starts getting very busy. So I want you to think about this for a moment. When my energy body is stagnating, stuck, not flowing very well, there's resistance in it, my mind becomes very busy. So if your mind is becoming very busy and or, because they go together, your emotions are having their way with you, whether that is depression, anxiety, fear, anger, move, here's my simple solution, move your energy and restore this thing called peace. Restore peace. Many people do not know, many people do not know that peace actually goes with us wherever we go. Spiritual teachers will say that all the time. In fact, I've been listening to it for many years, 40 plus years. But I was always like, well, how do I find it? That's the thing. How do I find it? And then I discovered at 15 years old, I discovered Qigong, and I found that it is very effective at helping one to restore peace. Because probably like most people, I had no idea peace lived inside me. No clue. No clue. So, very purposefully, moving and doing a very simple Qigong exercise that has a very powerful effect on the body. This one, we call it the gentle drum. In our school, different schools will call these things different names. Sometimes this is called knocking on the door of life. But in this exercise, we're going movement, movement, movement. Very purposeful. And then we're actually going to go to a stillness exercise like what we were doing before, which is called standing tree meditation. And we're going to do this to give us an even greater experience, hopefully, of some stillness and some meditation. So, moving. Now right here, I'm going to let the feet become solid on the floor. I'm going to imagine plugging my tailbone just by sitting down slightly. Tailbone plugging into the ground. I'm opening up my armpits slightly as if I'm holding a little ball or a little egg there. Again, if you're new to this, keep your eyes open and just gaze. Try not to look all around the room, just kind of gaze. And if you've been practicing for a while, then it's time to close your eyes and be still. But you have to be sure that you have good balance before you start closing your eyes. So don't do that too soon. And either way, whether our eyes are open or closed, we want to take our attention and we want to bring it down to our feet. Again, that's going to take some practice. But that is another thing that over time will bring you peace and will help you to quiet the mind. Because the mind becomes quiet when? When energy is flowing. When energy is stuck, what happens to the mind? It becomes chaotic. And when the mind is chaotic, we no longer have peace. But if we desire to restore peace, get the energy flowing. Sometimes we do that through movement. Sometimes we do it through apparent stillness, but even in this stillness practice, there's movement that's being created internally. Inhale, exhale through the nose and or mouth on the exhale, and then we're just going to have you start marching like this with your feet. And marching, we want to have a little bit of a degree of like a pounding on the floor, nothing too hard. But there are important acupuncture points in the bottom of your feet called kidney 1. It's part of the kidney meridian. It's where the kidney meridian begins. These are energy lines that run through the body. We also have many energy centers in the bottom of our feet, and we want to open these up, and we want to create energy coming up into our feet, up into our knees, up into our hips, up into our legs, etc. This would be even better if I was on the beach with bare feet, but we're inside a hotel. Underneath this carpet is concrete. Sometimes wearing shoes is a little better, but for some people, other people may prefer barefoot. Either way, but we're walking on, marching, 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 marching. Now, this is also very important as well, okay? This is why aerobics and running and all these things are good for you, but obviously that has a lot more impact on the body. But one of the reasons that it's so good for you, I'm going to just turn sideways here for a moment, is the backs of your calves. Okay, this is called the gastrocnemius, this muscle. And as it's squeezing like this, it's sending blood back to your lungs to become reoxygenated, sent back to your heart. But it's also moving both the blood and the chi. So therefore, we're talking about moving the energy in the energy body. And once again, I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this. We're going to go from movement. By the way, notice what's happening in your own saliva and so on, because that's related to your digestion and your subsequent respiration. It's all connected. It's all good for you. We're getting it moving. I'll tell you more about it later. Step your feet out underneath the shoulders. Stabilize yourself. Use your hands this time just to help. Put your hands kind of like this to stabilize yourself. Knees bent. You feel all that stuff going on in your body? A lot of you probably do. This helps stabilize yourself right in the middle of whatever that is that you're feeling there. That is chi, yes. It's energy. It's also blood, okay? Some of it is toxicity moving out of tissues and organs and so on. And some of it is good healing medicine. One of those things in the body that begins getting stirred up in this type of practice is called hormone. Positive hormone, happy hormone like serotonin. Let's take this left hand, we're going to put it out to the side like this, okay? You can start with either hand, but I'm going to use my left. With my right hand, I want to come down here, and first I'm going to just show you, come to the area of your navel center and take your thumb, place it on the rim of the lower rim of the belly button there. When you place your hand there, and in fact, let's just place both hands there for a moment, okay? Especially for those of you who are beginners. Let's pause here for a second before we go into that next exercise. This is an exercise in and of itself. And this area here on the lower hand, whatever hand is lower here, this area is called the lower dantian in Chinese medicine. We're going to go ahead and hold it for a moment. I highly recommend every day you hold this area 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If you forget everything I teach you, you never take another class from me ever again. Hold this area 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day. And if you do it from this position, it has a potency to it. This is called standing tree meditation. But the even easier way, which literally you can't really give yourself an excuse for and you cannot fail doing, practice this in bed lying down. Hold your hands here. This area is the epicenter of health and vitality. That is how it is seen in Oriental medicine, traditional Chinese medicine. The majority of your lymphatic system lives here. But what else lives here? This is the seat of your emotions. This is the seat of your stress. This is the seat of any kind of pressure, any kind of stress you have in your body. And in order to heal ourselves, we must be peaceful. And in order to be peaceful, we have to calm the storm. We have to calm and dissipate the pressure that is happening and that is beginning right here in the lower belly. We have to. We have to. Everybody that I've ever worked on, I've worked on a lot of people in the last 40 years. I cannot tell you how many. Every person I've ever worked on or worked with energetically, even if I couldn't see them and I was on the telephone with them and they lived a long, long ways away, I feel their energy body. I can feel it. This is the area where the first level of tension and stress and pressure begins. So by holding this area and bringing your attention here, you will begin to start to bring warming, calming energy to this location, and you will start bringing energy here. This is also a battery in your body, so you will begin charging that battery. So much I could say to you about it, but we'll leave it at that for right now. Let's go ahead and take the hands and go like this, and let's go like this. March again, one more time, okay? Marching also, when you're hitting the floor like that, okay, not too hard, but when you're hitting the floor like that, you're getting rid of toxicities out of the legs, out through the feet, going down into the floor, all right? Inhale, exhale. We're going to stop. We're going to come back to the other exercise that I was just going to show you here. We're going to go right back to it, but I want you to take your hands. This is similar to what we were doing before, but this time we're actually just going to go like this, like we have water on the hands and we want to get rid of it. So we go here. This is another attempt, so to speak, to remove certain toxicities from the arms, the body, the limbs. So don't hurt yourself with the movement, but it's a sinking and a throwing away of that water, like so. Very good. Good. Again, you can exhale, ha, right here, ha, 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 ha. One more, ha, right from here now. Stabilize yourself, stabilize. Left hand goes out to the side here. This area here, lower dantian, is also sometimes referred to as the Sea of Qi. This exercise is called the Sea of Qi. For that reason, we're going to bring some of that energy from the lower belly. We just built up a charge there. We're going to bring it up the body. And we're going to bring it down the arm. We're going to bring this up the body, about this speed, up to the face, and down the arm. This time I'm going to try and inhale through the nose as my hand is traveling up I'm going to turn my waist a little bit and I'm going to exhale down this way. I'm going to come over to this side. I'm going to inhale as I'm coming up. Exhale. So I go down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale. I'm going to inhale. Exhale. Inhale, coming up. Exhale. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, going down. Couple more. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, going down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, going down. From this position, take the backs of your hands. Exhale here. Inhale, coming up. Hold, exhale, coming down. Now, one thing that might be helpful for some of you, we're going to do it here. When we get here, we inhale, touch the middle fingers. Leave them connected. Come down. Inhale. Touch the middle fingers. Exhale, come down. Little coordination exercise for some of you. But once you get the fingers connected, it'll help you concentrate more and it'll help you stay connected here as you're coming down. Inhale. Exhale. Trying to touch those middle fingers on the way down. Couple more. Remember, if we move the energy, especially for those who might just be tuning in, if we move the energy, we restore peace. It's that simple. If I make it simple, it's that simple. Move the energy, restore the peace. Energy stops flowing, you're holding your breath, you're in fear state. No more flow, and then all those other weird feelings come. So right from here, imagine you have puppet strings on your wrists and your arms are raising up, and then we go down. We're going to go back a little bit too, so we're going to go out here. So go up. That's an exhale here. Inhale, exhale. Two more. Take your hands, doesn't matter which one's on top. Place your hands just below the belly button there, and you're holding your hands on the lower belly again. This is the area again called lower dantian in Chinese medicine. Inhale, exhale. Eyes open. Unless you've been practicing for a while, then you can close your eyes. Make sure your knees stay bent, slightly bent. Especially if you're new to this, it's a little bit risky to close your eyes because your body and stuff, you're going to feel a little wonky. There's all kinds of things starting to float around in your body. Because you're getting that energy field moving. Inhale, exhale. Let's go back to our marching. Marching has another effect that I would like to mention, two, in fact, that I think are very important. You can also just begin to move your arms like this, like you're marching, okay? It's kind of interesting, as I've been sharing a lot lately, as the world is, many areas of the world in conflict, and all of these rumors about World War III and all of these different kinds of things, right? We're going to use marching for a different purpose, but yes and no. So marching eliminates fatigue. That's why soldiers use it, okay? Don't know where it started, but somebody knew Qigong somewhere, because this eliminates fatigue, allows you to eliminate fatigue, also become more focused. Also, this allows us to become more grounded, okay? But today, we're marching for peace. We're not marching for war, and we're not marching toward war, we're marching toward peace. And peace, as I will get into as the day goes on here, peace begins with you. It doesn't begin with anyone else. It begins with you in the middle of your family, in the middle of your situation, in the middle of your life. And it begins with you taking care of you, because if you don't take care of you and find peace within yourself, who can you give it to? Who can you share it with? Impossible. It's not possible. So it starts today. You're marching for peace. Looks like aerobics. Looks like if I went faster, it'd look like aerobics, but we're not doing that. We're not doing it for that purpose or in that way. If I was running, right, all of this. But we're using the march, 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 movement, 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 movement. Check out what we're going to do now. Stop. They don't ever do this in aerobics class. Bring your hands up, float them like this. Take your middle fingers, plug them together like this. Let your elbows hang heavy, and in fact, I'm going to start you all down here. Sometimes you see this one a lot, it's done here, but I'm actually going to start you here, okay? Because many of you today may be brand new beginners, and that having your arms up high is a challenging one. So I'm actually going to start you right here. My middle fingers are plugged in. My hands are down here, and it's like I'm holding a ball. We often talk about like holding a Qi ball right here. It's like a ball of Qi. You're holding it here. And again, this area is the lower dantian, and the lower dantian is like a battery. So we want to charge it. Just by standing here, we're going to work with some Qigong magic. It takes a little time to get used to, but in playing with it, you may discover that you love it. I've been doing it for 40 years. There must be something to it for me to be still practicing it 40 years later. It's been around for 5,000 years. There might be something to it. Let's discover that for you. Maybe you can tap into that, and maybe you can see for yourself what it's about. So we're going to go ahead and hold this. Eyes are either open or closed. As you get better at this, I recommend you close them, but at least initially, you may want to keep your eyes open just to stabilize and feel grounded and so on. Now in your body, some of you are probably getting some sensations like maybe in your lower back, mid-back, etc., and for sure maybe in your hips or your knees. These are all places where you're not just having issues in your body. This is literally the energy showing you where it's stuck. So if you feel it squeezing and really tight around your knees, guess what? In the energy body, not just your knees, in the energy body, it's stuck there. If it's stuck in the lower back, the mid back, guess what? That's where the energy is stuck. So when you stand like this, it is actually causing energy to move. So I said earlier, we have movement exercises that lead to movement, and we have stillness exercises that lead to movement. This would be a stillness exercise that actually leads to movement. Go ahead and take an inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Let that go. Go right back to marching. We're going to do a light tapping here. Wherever you can reach, don't go too low or something. If you can't, like if this is as far as you can go there. If you can go all the way down, go all the way down. Come up the insides of your legs. We're going to go down the outsides. It's just a light tapping here. This is oftentimes you'll see this as Dao In. It can be called Dao In, which means tapping. Very good for the blood flow, very good for your meridians, acupuncture meridians that run all around the body, all over the body. Let's go on the outsides right here, to the outsides of the knees. Don't hang your head too far forward. Keep your head closer to your trunk. Otherwise, you might get lightheaded. See how I'm lifting my head up like this? I don't want to be like hung over like this. I want to have my head up and I'm tapping like this. Okay, this is much safer. And then I'm going to go ahead and stand up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. We're going to do a very brief hold like this. So it'll be middle fingers plugged together. And my elbows are hanging heavy. I don't want elbows up toward my shoulders. My elbows are down. And we're just going to hold this for like 20 seconds. So we're just going to hold this. I'm going to count to 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, I said I was going to count to 20, but I know some of you at home. Do this with me. Do this. You see this light movement? You see this light? And now let's go like this. Go like this. Go like this. Now let's do it wrong first so we understand. Imagine we had something somewhat heavy right here, right? And we lift it up and we shrug our shoulders like this. You don't want to do that for 10 minutes, right? So right from here, like float the wrists up, leave the elbows hanging low, and then plug the middle fingers together. Round this out just a little bit, not like that, but just a little bit like this. And then try and drop the shoulders. And we'll go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Let the hands come down. Lift the hands like this and let them drop. Lift, drop. So if you're sitting, let's say you're at the desk, you're working, whatever's going on, and you have like tension in your shoulders, lift your shoulders up, your hands and your shoulders, and then as much as possible, just let them fall. Boom. 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 Good. Let's go back to a gentle drum. So we're moving this way again. Inhale, exhale, use your breath. It doesn't have to be with every movement, just now and then with this one. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Good, let's let it come back. Unwind, standing still. Find that position with your feet that feels stabilized. Hands like so. Bend knees a little bit. Pause for a moment. I'm going to keep my eyes open on this one. You can too. Or you can close them. That's up to you. One of the tricks of the trade, let's go over this position for beginners. So let's go stand tall with our legs, okay? When we bend our legs at all, for most people, you immediately, especially if you don't do this, you immediately start going into like tension and your legs are like, what are we doing? This is hard, uncomfortable, and I don't want to do it, right? So you need to learn, one thing that would be helpful to learn if you want to learn how to do it properly, we'll just say it that way, I guess, simply. You need to find a balance between holding steady while simultaneously relaxing. So let's use a little cheat that can help, especially people who are brand new beginners. So from here, we're standing like so. And if for any reason, knee problems, hip problems don't even allow you to do this, don't worry about it. But if you can do this, we're going to bend knees slightly. And using our hips, using our legs. And now what I want you to do is I want you to squeeze the muscles in your legs, in your buttocks, in your core, and make them tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax those muscles and let your body just stand there. That's more of the feeling that you want. And so you can trick your body into giving you that feeling by contracting all your musculature. Let's do it again. Contract everything, feet all the way up to the buttocks and into the core. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax it all, and then place your hands like so. This is more of the feeling that you want when you're standing there doing your Qigong. When you practice things like this, you are plugging in literally to the earth, literally to the air around you. Yet you would never know it unless you do the practice. Inhale, exhale, go back to marching. I can tell you that you can take any average person, you can have them do that exercise, and if they were willing to do an experiment and start doing that, let's say 5 minutes a day, and we were to like follow them and say, hey, what's happening? There's nobody, I believe there's hardly anybody, I won't say there's nobody, but there's hardly anybody that would say there is zero things happening here. If they did it for a month, at least, let's say, maybe 10 minutes a day, they would go like, something weird is happening. I feel weird inside, a person might say. Somebody else who's more open, they might be like, hey, that feels really good. Somebody who's really closed off, they might be like, okay, I'll admit it, something weird is happening, you know? So we're gonna go here, and we're gonna tap right back here. And we're gonna go down the sides of the legs. We're gonna come up the insides of the legs, down the outside. Right here, just to the outsides of the knees there. Remember, keep your head not too far forward. Keep it tucked back a little bit. Good. Come right up here. Take your middle fingers. Touch them to the lower rim of the belly button. Place your hands flat against your belly. Stabilize your feet, your legs, however you're standing. Knees slightly bent. This, for me, always gets even a little tricky to talk to you while I do it, but because right away, if I close my eyes, I go to this position. This is a meditation for me these days. Like, I can disappear here. I can become very, very quiet and go very, very much inside. Until your mind becomes quieter, which means what? First, we say, if your energy were to flow more freely, you would be more peaceful. That's something I'm going to keep reiterating here today. If your energy would flow more freely, which you can assist it to do through Qigong practice, your mind would be quieter. Your emotions would be more stabilized. You would enter into a deeper state of what we call meditation or presence or peace. And when you get inside your energy body, which is what I'm talking about when I said to you that I can go into a zone and sort of disappear and forget everybody's here. In Zen practice, this is what we call no mind, entering a state of empty mind. It's not brainless, it's not dissociated from my body. It's deep inside myself, deep inside my body, deep inside my being. Jesus, Buddha, they were known for saying the kingdom of heaven lives within you. Jesus said it that way. Buddha called it meditation. Look inside yourself. Jesus said, seek not outside yourself. Inside you lives your energy body. If we create some more flow in the energy, the mind becomes quiet. From there, you can go deeper into your energy body. You can go deeper into inner peace. And all peace begins with inner peace. There will never be world peace until enough people like you go inward and find peace within inside of yourself. And let's go right back to this. And this is also a good practice for getting grounded after you did a series of exercises like the ones that we just did, okay? All right, so we're gonna march that out, and we're gonna do the same thing we did here. Water to the floor, throw it, throw it, throw it, throw it 2 more times, 1 more time, and 2. And now stabilize, very slow, about this speed. About this speed, letting your breath be as it wants to be. And then very slowly, we're going to walk the hands down. This is not just about energy. This is about bringing the mind slowly down into lower dantian and into the ground. Body might want to inhale there, so you allow the inhale. You can either touch middle fingers or not, but we're going to go slowly down here. Down, place it to the ground, and we're going to do 1 more of those. Inhale, exhale. Doesn't matter which hand, take one on top of the other. But the bottom hand, whatever it is, place a thumb at the lower rim of the belly button and then place both hands just like so. Let's go back to how we started the program today. We take 3 breaths. In through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. In through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Good job, and then just kind of shake it out like this, a little bit like that, a little bit of tap like this. Brush your face like this, head. Brush, clap your hands, brush like this, throw the energy like that, and bring your hands right here briefly. Prayer-like position, puts a little cherry on top of your cake right there at the heart space. Take 1 more breath. We're going to transition here, get a little chair to sit in, get a little sip of water. So take your time there in your transition. I'm going to get a little chair here. You guys can get a sip of water or your tea. Is this good here? Okay. You can go across at any time. All right, so hopefully everybody's feeling a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more, sometimes they call it Zen, like in Zen Buddhism or that kind of idea, a little bit more Zen, a little bit more no mind. If you've never heard that before, it sounds like no mind means like brainless or something. You don't have any, brain or something. But, it's very interesting because so many things that we do actually are an attempt to take us out of our body. Whether it's whatever, the general description of this is like sex, drugs, alcohol, like all of this, right? It takes us actually out and away from our body. And I understand that. I can relate to that. I grew up in a family of alcoholism and, some drug use and things of this nature, and a lot of people suffering, and everyone around me trying to escape their body, trying to escape their reality, not judging anybody because I love my family and everybody did the best that they knew how to do, and I've taken it further, though, in many ways with the practices that I've done, and some people in my family and so on have kind of followed in suit a little bit anyway. But using this as an example, people didn't want to go answer the phone. You know, it's like a bill collector might be calling, so let's not answer the phone. We don't want to go there, we don't want to go here. It's all this avoidance and escapism. Avoidance and escapism is never going to bring you a sense of peace. Internal, inner peace. So, without getting too radical about it, come back to your body. For a moment, wherever you are, just come back to your body, check it out, move that spacesuit of yours, open and close your left hand. That's actually a practice of mindfulness, coming back to your body. Do you know if you have stress and you have anxiety and you have fear, this right here probably isn't going to do much, but if you started doing this, just this mindfully moving your hand, you immediately start changing the energy because you're moving the energy. You're no longer in the same way holding your breath. Well, now let's get a little fancier with Qigong, so to speak, a little fancier. But it's the same idea. Without changing your breath, just bring your hands like this. Don't do anything with your breath purposefully. Just your hands are like this. And then turn your hands over. And with a little bit like you're pushing down on something, just give a little bit of resistance there, just the tiniest smidgen of resistance. And now with an inhale through the nose, go. Hold your breath for a second, turn the hands over and push down. Wait a second or two till you really need to breathe. Then inhale. Then we'll use the sound shh. That's an easy one to understand. We're going to go. Now, a very key detail that I want you to catch, okay? When we do the inhale and we do the exhale, if you want to trick the mind into relaxation, then at the bottom of the exhale, you need to pause for approximately a count of 2 before you inhale. I'm not going to go into all the science of why that is and everything, but you can look it up online. You might find some interesting stuff, but I'm going to leave it like that. But when you inhale and you exhale, when you get to the bottom, hold the exhale out. Count of 1, count of 2, and then inhale. Exhale. 1, 2, inhale. Exhale. Hold it out. 1, 2, inhale. Exhale. 1, 2, inhale. Exhale. 1, 2. Okay, excellent. Did you notice anything with that? Did you feel it? Did y'all feel it? Because I can't see you at home. I need to know if you guys felt it. All right, so look, there's a key detail here. If we, and let's just do it, let's do it this way, and then let's do it the other way to see if you guys can see the contrast. So, everybody with me. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. You getting revved up? It's revving you up, isn't it? You feel it? It's not the same thing, is it? Let's do it again. If you want some energy, I'll teach you 2 things here, okay? Sometimes it's good to understand and have comparison and contrast. If you need to rev yourself up, your blood pressure's low, you have 0 energy, you can't get off the couch, okay? Try the exercise like this. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. You're also really cold. It's cold outside. Your car's broken down. Got to fix the flat tire. Breathe like this. But don't breathe like this if you have really high blood pressure. Don't worry about it if you have high blood pressure and you just did that. It's not going to do anything in 2 seconds, but don't do it as a regular practice. If you have high blood pressure, do not do that exercise. You're revving everything up. And although it's very good for your chi, if your blood has been restricted and has a lack of flow in the blood, that's called the circulatory system. If there is a lack of flow in your blood and you start practicing Qigong, I've been teaching Qigong for a long time. I get these questions, which are awesome questions. I'm glad people are asking. It's for their own safety, number one. But I also love questions because then I can give, hopefully some good practical answers. And a lot of people don't know these things in the detail that I personally have studied them. Not that I'm all great. It's just that I needed to know because I had a severe spinal disease. I had panic attacks that I couldn't get rid of. I had an array of different things going on in my body that I was trying to heal. I had a cyst in this arm, in the shoulder, that they said I was going to have surgery on. That it was a weakness in the bone and that my bone was deteriorating. And I never had to have surgery with that. I made that disappear. So I wanted to know these things in details, and I've spent the last 40 years researching things in detail, both from a Western medicine side, studying molecular cellular biology for 4 years, studying psychology for 4 years plus, but then also studying Eastern medicine, traditional Chinese medicine since I was 15 years old, just looking for what are the golden nuggets that are going to make a difference in our lives, right? So, couple details here. One, the form of Qigong we do is called medical Qigong. Tai Chi is a wonderful, beautiful art. Martial art is a beautiful art. I have many different black belts and different disciplines of martial, all beautiful things. What makes medical Qigong stand out should be obvious. It has to do with your health. It has to do with medical conditions, things you're journeying. David, if I have this, should I be doing that? No. What did I just tell you? If you have high blood pressure, don't. This is dangerous, okay, for you. Probably won't kill you or really hurt you, but you're going to wonder why. Why does my blood pressure keep spiking? Your blood can't handle it because there's resistance in the blood. So we need to remove, the best we can, resistance in the qi flow and resistance also secondarily in the blood flow. Little by little, lower the blood pressure first. Now you can ramp up your Qigong practices. Let me just go a little bit further with this idea because I think it'll be helpful for some of you at home and also here. So when we do waterfall, for example, everybody with me, we're going to do this one, and we'll come back to what I was talking about there initially with this other exercise as well. But let's look at some of these concepts. First and foremost, why do I say just move the hands? Because this focuses on slowing your mind down, and it puts an emphasis on the energy body. Whether you realize it or not, it does. And so just by doing this slow and methodical, many people who are not well, they cannot do this with a streamlined movement. Their movement is broken and they have a very hard time concentrating doing this. So if you can just start doing this where you could do it in the way that I'm doing it here, where it's slow and it's rhythmical, you're emphasizing the energy flow. Again, you may not know it, but you are, okay? So this is one way. Now we're going to make this particular exercise a little bit more external, okay? And so now we're going to inhale with this in-breath. We're going to go, no, we're going to make a light sound. Okay? For those of you, please, it's important. The SH sound we just made, you notice how it's light. Very cleansing for the liver. The liver, when it becomes agitated and frustrated, which is very common in our society for many reasons, including what we eat, that sound works very well to remove the frustration and the agitation, and therefore restore what? Peace, harmony, right? But if we make the sound louder, you'll see me on some of my videos and some of my teachings to you all, and we'll do it, let's just do it one time together. We're going to go, and we go, shh. It's a little more intense, right? And you contract your belly, and there's a little bit more oomph to it. That practice right there, done one time, if you have high blood pressure, it's no problem. Do not do that practice on a regular basis if you have high blood pressure. If you're doing that practice and you start feeling like, ooh, I feel like, ooh, wonky, I feel like your blood is not ready for that practice. Okay? So but everybody can do it this way. With me. Including the person with high blood pressure. Because one of the reasons for high blood pressure, which again is a symptom of what? A lack of what? Peace, harmony. It is a sign of frustration. When the liver, everybody go ahead and hold the right side of your body here. This is where your liver and your gallbladder are, in this underneath the rib cage here. The liver and the gallbladder, when they are in a state of frustration, agitation, all right? And the liver gallbladder doesn't like, for example, it doesn't like any cheese, actually. I still eat some, but, you know, it doesn't like any cheese. Cheese does not move through this area of your body very well at all, okay? Any sorts of, avocado is a good fat. It moves through here beautifully. Olive oil moves through here beautifully. In fact, it can help cleanse the liver and cleanse the gallbladder. In fact, you can look it up. There's a cleanse called the Master Cleanse. And my teachers have always done this without the maple syrup, but you'll see that the Master Cleanse incorporates maple syrup. But if you do olive oil, a little bit of lemon, and a little bit of cayenne pepper in the morning, and you can even, a delicious way to do it, to cleanse the liver gallbladder, is to put it on some apples, some organic apples in the morning. But be ready for it. It's going to give a little squeeze, and if you got liver stuff going on, you're going to want to eat like light that day. Drink some water, eat a salad, you know, a little bit later. Like, don't go right back to everyday eating because your body may not like it. But point is, that restores some flow, and it moves through there, and it's going to help clean out some of what's going on. But contrary to that, cheese, for example, is one of the worst ones. But another one, which is in everything we eat, and I share this regularly in the programs that I do because it's one of those, if you want to call it conspiracy type things, whatever. Anyway, canola oil is flooding everything we eat. It's crazy. I have some friends that are connected to people who research that stuff, and it's really, really bad for your body. So highly recommend read your labels and try and stay away from that one. Very good, very not good for this part of the body. And so when this part of the body becomes agitated, becomes frustrated, guess what? So are you, right? So anyway, so regardless whether we ate cheese, we had canola oil, whatever we got going on, right? This practice will help cleanse the liver. Let's do it again, but don't do too much too fast. So again, it's just Anybody can do this. Inhale. And a light inhale. If you have high blood pressure and you were to do that, let's say 3 times, and you started getting warm and you started getting hot in the head, right? That's enough. Don't do it anymore, okay? Oops. Don't do it anymore. You've met your quota. You've done it enough, okay? But that's a good one, all right? Now, let's go back to this one. I said, if we kept breathing like that, that ramps us up. If you want to get energized, etc., and your blood pressure can handle it, then okay, that's a good one. But most of you are going to benefit more so from the following, and this tricks your mind. This is my short explanation of it and how it makes sense to me and how I've learned it and taught it. It tricks your mind. When we're stressed, what is the thing we don't do? What is the thing we don't do? We don't what?
Breathe.
We don't breathe. We're holding our breath. And well-meaning people who are our friends or something, they'll come over to us and they'll say, oh, honey, just take a deep breath. The thing is, you can't. It's hard. Even when we take a breath and we're like, it's hardly anything. In fact, we just did a weekend program 2 weekends ago, and I said one of the things that we were doing on Saturday and Sunday was literally practicing all weekend so that the people there could literally just have one good breath. One. That's it. All weekend breathing, doing Qigong exercises, just get one good breath because it's tricky to do, which is why making something like this an ongoing habit, something that we come back to, can really be helpful. All right, let's look at how this tricks the mind. We go here, we inhale. We go here, we exhale. Hold it out until you feel like you have to breathe. Hold it out. Blow your breath out. Hold it out. Oh, now you're like, oh, panic. I gotta breathe. Exhale. Do you know that right there will trick you out of anxiety? The mind that holds you in anxiety will not let you take a breath. I say to you, go ahead, take a deep breath. You go, can't. You trick your mind. Just hold out your breath for 2 or 3 seconds, and the same mind that was like, we're not going to breathe, I'm not coming up, I'm a turtle, I'm staying down here, that mind will go, oh my God, I can't breathe, panic. And you trick your own body mind into being able to take a deep breath. So that's how I would have you maybe think about that. Let's do the practice again now, the right way, the best way for this particular trick of mind, to trick your mind back in, and your body back into a state of peace. Let's look at it. We inhale here. We exhale here. We hold that breath out. 2, 3, 4. We inhale. We exhale. That's our 1. Now we count 2, 3, 4. We inhale. We exhale. 2, 3, 4. We inhale. We exhale. Now just let it go. Do you feel it? Do you see what it does? Do you feel it? So the one where, just to conclude this little piece, the one that I had you do where you inhale, you exhale, and you hold it out until you panic and have to breathe, that's just an extreme version of this exercise. Understand? Where you're panicking, oh my God, I gotta breathe. But we're actually doing that every time. There's a little tiny bit of panic in your body and your mind at the end when you hold the breath out for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And your own mind, the one that was holding on so tight, wouldn't let you to breathe. Guess what? It's tricked. It immediately goes, I need to breathe or I'm going to drown. It's funny. Trust me. I had severe anxiety, panic attacks. The doctors, I went to them after a while. I was embarrassed. I was like, man, I don't even know what to do with this. And I had a lot of things going on. It was back when I was like 28 years old. I'd left my family and I was like back in another round of college, and I didn't know how I was going to make money, and like everything, right? Everything in my life was up. But I could not stop these panic attacks, and they would come on really, really intense, especially whenever it came to like pressure time, like exam time. You know, it's like things were all right, and then all of a sudden it was exam time at the end of the month, and everything just piled up. And literally, I would just go into this like total overwhelm. I'd start sweating, my body was shaking, my body was taking over, and I didn't have any control about it, and it sucked. As a human being, I use that word very specifically at the time. I was like, this sucks. Luckily for you all and myself, obviously, I conquered that. I've never gone into a full anxiety attack in that way ever again. But I could feel them coming on, but I trick the mind and I get my breath back. An anxiety attack is an extreme version of not having what? Peace. When you're in an anxiety attack, you're on the verge of an anxiety attack, you're close to an anxiety attack, you're in an anxiety attack, you're in a panic attack, that is an extreme version of not having peace. It's like the worst space you can be in. So people take the medicine and they drink maybe some alcohol, they take the sleeping pills, they do all these different things, and then what does that agitate in your body? I told you about it earlier, just a refresher. What organs do you think that it agitates? Liver, gallbladder. Now your liver, gallbladder is very agitated, very frustrated because you took the sleeping pills. It's very agitated, very frustrated because you took the Tylenol. Sometimes you got to take a Tylenol, but you don't want to do it too often because it's going to agitate the liver. When it agitates the liver, you become frustrated, you lose your peace, and on goes the cycle. So an anxiety attack is that extreme form of like a hormone dump in your body. There's so much stress hormone that has built up that like the straw comes that breaks the camel's back, and then the crescendo comes. So is it crazy or is it genius that through an exercise like this right here that you can break the cycle of this? Is it crazy? Is it a crazy idea? Or is it genius? I personally think it's both crazy because it's not normal, and I also think it's genius. So let's do it again before we go on to the next section of our program. We're here, inhale. We exhale. We hold it out, 2, 3, 4. We inhale. We exhale. We hold it out, 2, 3, 4. We inhale. A little more detail. Right here now, let the breath go. One last little detail for everybody. Hold this down like you're holding something down here. You don't want it to come back up. Whatever it is, you don't want it to come back up. I'm not like forcing it down, but I am holding it down. This is called getting grounded. This is called anchoring the mind to the earth. This is called extending the mind. The yi leads the qi. The mind leads the energy down into the ground. So the one other key detail with this exercise is we inhale up, we exhale down. While we're holding out 2, 3, 4, it's like we're pressing the ground down. 2, 3, 4, and then we inhale. And we exhale. We hold it down. 2, 3, 4. Good job. Bring your hands right here. Another little Qigong exercise. A little cherry on top of the cake that we just made. We just made a cake. It's called a Qi cake. We just made it. And now we're putting a little cherry on top. This is a little accent by placing your hands here, by holding them in the vicinity of what is called middle dantian, which is the center of your heart, the heart center. You start bringing the energy there, you accent the energy there. You highlight the energy there. And some of you will start to sense a deeper state of inner peace beginning. And if you do, that's a beautiful thing. And if you're not there yet, don't worry about it, because we have roughly another hour or so to go, 45 minutes anyway. Inhale. Exhale, waterfall goes like this. Ah. You hear the ah sound? It goes ah, like a sigh. Ah. Inhale. And we have ah sound. Very good, okay? Just take 2 minutes. We're going to pause you just for 2 minutes. Little restroom break, little sip of your tea break, and then come right back. And we're going to enter into the last 45 minutes and continue our program. Thank you. Greetings, everyone, and welcome back. You see a couple of people maybe sneaking by the camera here. We'll see. So welcome back. So hopefully you're feeling a little more peaceful. I want to reiterate something that I said earlier. I told you I'd reiterate it a few times throughout the program today, and that is that if your energy is stuck, you're not going to feel peaceful. If you remember that, that's a beautiful thing, because you now have a solution to getting your energy moving. It's called Qigong. Can you get your energy moving by going to an aerobics class? Yes, but it's different. And there's also more impact on your body. Can you get your energy moving from running? Yes. Can you even get a runner's high? Yes, but it's different. Is it similar to a Qigong high? Yes, it is. But you might have to run about 14 miles and you might have to run up a mountain to access the same kind of hormones and good feeling cell-to-cell communicators like hormones through your body. And so therefore Qigong is easier on that level for those that it is, right? So let's take a breath again. Let's come back to our 3 breaths, and we're going to do a little meditation practice. We can do this seated or standing. I'll show it to you both ways a little bit here. So first, inhale through the nose when you're ready. Inhale, exhale, and then inhale, exhale again. And then one more time, inhale, exhale. Good. I'm going to do this next meditation from standing. Those of you that are here and want to stand with me, you can. Those of you at home, you can either sit or stand. Either way. Either way, it's going to work. In Qigong practice, typically, you can come here if you desire. In Qigong practice, typically, we stand in standing tree meditation, but we also have seated practices. So this is why we have trees here, right? And now the ladies are also trees. Okay, we're going to be like trees standing in a forest. One of the benefits of this standing meditation, if you can do it, is that the bottoms of the feet, they have like these chakra centers, as I said earlier, and energy flows naturally up through the feet, comes into the knees, comes into the hips, the thighs, up into the lower belly. It starts filling the energy system. So it's one of the benefits of actually doing it standing. So if we stand, feet about shoulder width apart, and a great place to begin if you're starting with Qigong, but also it's an advanced practice as well, by the way. But we're going to take middle fingers, we're going to hold them here at the lower rim of the belly button. We're going to place our hands flat against the lower belly here. All right, for those of you that are brand new to the practice, Even those who've been doing it for a while, it's worth hearing again. This is a challenging practice on the level that it is over time, especially if we did this for the next 20 minutes, which we're not going to, but if we did. So everybody tap right here on your forehead for a moment. This area is the area of your third eye. Okay, behind here sits the frontal lobe of your brain. Okay, this is the third eye. This is where we concentrate and this is where we focus. So we want to bring our attention to this area. For some of you, that's going to be a little tricky. You'll find that your mind is like off over here somewhere. So we want to bring the focus here. You can just even tap there for a moment to say, hey, wake up right here. And then we want to take this attention right here that's happening in the forehead, and we actually want to bring it down here to the lower belly, into this area we call lower dantian, okay? Again, this is also the core. You know, so when we talk about exercises of the core, when we talk about healing, this is our gut. Chinese medicine, we say lower dantian. Japanese martial arts, we call it the hara. It must be an important area because everybody's talking about it. So my knees here, it's very important I stay slightly bent with the knees because I don't want to cut off my blood flow. Now from here, when you plug your middle fingers together and you touch the lower rim of your belly button, you are actually going to one of the main areas in your body, one of the primary batteries. And once you start recharging this battery by simply holding it here, and we can make it better over time. There are details that will make it better over time. There's things we can do to add to it, but I'm just going to start you here. This is a great place to start. You set your timer at home for 5 minutes, and you just stand here for 5 minutes. That's it. That's all you do. Your mind's going to be thinking about other things, but I told you earlier that the mind is in a state of unrest, meaning a lack of peace, stressed. When? When is it in a state of unrest? It is in a state of unrest when your energy is what? Stuck and not moving. By recharging this lower battery called lower dantian, I actually want you to move it like this. See? Move it. Shake it. Just slow, but just 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to know right where that is. That's your lower gut. People have become very disconnected to this area. They don't breathe here. They rarely get in touch with this area, in tune with this area, which is why I recommended earlier, and I'm recommending again, that you lay your hands here in bed in the morning, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Somebody contacted me the other day. Client, student contacted me and said, David, I have this really bad cold. My lungs are doing this, that, and the other thing, and I can't make it go away. What should I do? The very first thing I told them was, lay your hands here. Why? Well, because in Chinese medicine, the large intestine, which sits down in this area, is a paired organ with the lungs, which sits up here, which is all congested. And where is the first place in the body that you're disconnected? It's here. Where is the place in the body that I said in Oriental medicine is the epicenter of health and vitality? It's here. It's the gut. Is the heart important? Hugely. Is the brain important? Hugely. But the gut is more important than most people know. And if you see pictures and images of the Buddha practicing meditation, for example, in a seated position, which is the preferred position typically in India and practices of yoga, whereas Taoist practices, we tend to stand like this, even though we have an array of seated practices. But the hands are held, even though in a different position than this, typically in Buddhist practice, for example, the hands are held where? In the vicinity of the lower dantian, the lower belly. This will start changing your breath. If it hasn't already, it will start changing the digestive juices flowing through your body in your saliva, which is influencing your digestion, which is influencing your rest and digest. You may notice here, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, your breath is coming back to you. So this is actually our meditation for inner peace today, because if you could restore your breath, I guarantee you, you'd be more peaceful. Believe it or not, this practice right here is restoring your breath. There's ancient Chinese science behind it. I won't go into all the details because there's a lot of science behind it. But I'll tell you a little bit. Your lower gut is your lower dantian. Lower dantian is a battery. The battery, when it starts getting charged, starts feeding energy to your kidneys. Remember I said there's this meridian down, starts at the bottom of your feet, kidneys. Kidney 1 travels up to this lower dantian, travels up to the kidneys. There's some meridian lines on the body. You can look those up on Wikipedia. Inhale, exhale. When the lower dantian starts getting that battery recharged just enough, it feeds the kidneys. The kidneys, in Oriental medicine, we say that the kidneys control the inhalation. They control it. So when the kidneys are getting balanced, the energy is flowing through the body, guess what? All of a sudden, we had a guy here 2 weeks ago, here for a weekend program, and he'd never done Qigong before, and it was a little weird to him. And he said he had some tears actually even coming into his eyes as the energy started to move, and he said to me, "It's weird." And I said, "What's weird?" And he said, "It's like it's breathing me." Meaning pretty much his body. It's like my body's breathing me. That's what happens when the kidneys start to open up, is all of a sudden you get this breath and it's easy to breathe. And then as you start to breathe into that, for some people who have stuck emotion, you might get a little sad. You might have some emotions come up. For other people, you're just going to feel energized and you're going to feel like, oh, that feels really good. That's nice. Inhale, exhale. Excellent. And just like we've been doing, let's just march it like that. Pound the floor a little bit, pounding with the floor. Another simple exercise we did earlier, I want to reiterate. I always reiterate this exercise. I always have people do it again, because if you forget everything else I teach you, it's one of those exercises that I'm like, don't forget this one. Just don't forget this one. Put your feet out wider than the shoulder width. Start the exercise, I recommend. Nothing, no emphasis of breath. It's just hands go. Then you may notice the breath wants to come all by itself. Let it. This is our waterfall. You imagine the cleansing water up here, see? Part of Qigong is juggling balls. One of the balls that we can now begin juggling, now that we have some understanding of this exercise, is we can use the visualization of going up into the waterfall. And the waterfall washes over our body. Not just over the body, but also through the body. Washing any toxicity, poison, etc. down into the floor. Now notice we're using a sound. It's like a sighing sound. This is very soothing to the nervous system. Place the left hand out to the side. The right hand will bring the hand up. We come down the arm. We come up the arm. Go down the arm. We come up. We go down. Come up, inhale. We go down. We come up here, waterfall. We go and we march. Now, let's break this down a little bit and take a look at something. So, again, I teach a lot, I watch people a lot, I know what I'm doing, watching what I'm doing, watched that for many years. So let's look at a couple of things that may be helpful for you to understand. It's not about getting these exercises perfect. It's not about doing them perfect, etc. But it is about being mindful about how you're doing it and how your body is or is not doing it. How is your body cooperating with you? So, for example, let's do some things that aren't wrong. It's headed in the right direction, but let's make it better. It's a subtle thing. So let's say we're doing this exercise here, which is called calling up the sea of Qi, okay? This. In general, it's like this, okay? It's like this. But let's say I'm less in my body. I'm less, remember I said earlier, peace actually lives in our body. And wow, I hope you catch on to that today. I hope you pause on that and you actually catch on to that today, because I hope you meditate on it. So many of us were trying to escape the body. I don't want to be in the body. I don't want to feel the body. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel that. We're trying to escape it, constantly get away from it. And then a lot of us, and I don't want to be it may sound like focusing on the negative, but it's just kind of like the practical, what it is. A lot of people in wanting to get out of the body, what are they then putting in the body? Things that the body doesn't even like, right? Poisons. Put it in the body, put it in the body, put it in the body, escape the body, escape the body, put the poisons in the body, escape the body, right? Anyway, so we want to do something maybe different than that. So check it out. How does this show up in Qigong class? How does this show up? I'll show you how it shows up. Hold your shoulders up like this. This is how some people come to Qigong class, like that. Then with the one hand, go like this. And make sure to bend the wrist and make sure it's awkward. And then go like that. Swat like you're swatting a fly. Okay? That might be you day one coming to Qigong class. Understand? I had maybe some version, I know I had some version of that when I showed up day one to Qigong class. Understand? It wasn't a smooth movement. The breath wasn't connected to the hand wasn't connected to the breath. I was doing this with the hand and the breath, and my shoulders were like this. So, let's break it down simple, easy, but let's try and feel it. So one, it's so simple. I've done it so many times though. It feels so natural to me. I step out. I plug in, I settle, I lift my chin slightly so that my chin is roughly parallel. Can have a little dip forward. I don't want to be going back, but roughly like this. From this position here, when I go to move this arm, it's not just a random moving around of my arm. I want to come here, and the first part of the movement is like I'm cupping something and holding it here. Just doing this alone, by the way, that's often how the Buddha sits. You see the Buddha in the image, the Buddha sits here, right? This is a Taoist version of the same thing. You're holding something here, okay? Now, remember, go just like this with your right hand, go like this, and go from right side to left side and start to circle around your belly button. This is what? This is the epicenter of your health and vitality. This is lower dantian. Japanese martial arts, this is the hara. It's also called, not to confuse you, but calling up the sea of Qi. Actually, it's called the sea of Qi. This exercise is call it up, call it up. So we're calling it up, slowly bringing it up the body, and then imagining on an exhale, we send it down the arm. And then if you can, you want to try and coordinate. Inhale. And sink your weight a little as you exhale. Come back to center, draw it up. Draw it up. Exhale. Come right back here to the center. You're like this. Slowly reach up. This is coming back to your center. This is our waterfall. Inhale, exhale. We do a little shh. Good. And let's go back and go to our gentle drum. And as a reminder, go back to something we said in the beginning, we said in the middle, and we're saying as we're approaching the end. When your energy gets stuck, what happens to your mental clarity? What happens to your stress? Your stress goes up, your mental clarity becomes less. Why? Because your energy's not flowing. When your energy does not flow, what happens? You start holding your breath. So from an Oriental medicine standpoint, Qigong standpoint, you could say, people could say, it's true, if you hold your breath, your energy is going to stop flowing. It's true, but do you know what? If you understand subtle energy, the energy will be first. The energy is going to stop flowing, and then you're going to start holding your breath. Because the moment you stop flowing the energy, you immediately stop flowing energy to your lower dantian. The energy stops flowing to your kidneys. Your kidneys are no longer allowing you to inhale. Why? Why can't your kidneys allow an inhale? If we think this through, getting a little scientific, not too crazy. There's a reason. It's called fight or flight. Understand? Fight or flight. Fight or flight. You know what it is, right? The bear goes boo and you run. Oh my God, it's a bear, right? When that happens, that is built into your system so that things lock up quick and you immediately send adrenaline, okay? You immediately start pumping adrenaline. The root center shoves that message up to the solar plexus and the kidneys, and the adrenals go into a state of fight or flight, and all of a sudden you get all this energy so that you can run away from the bear. That's great for a few moments if there's a bear around, but you cannot live in this state ongoing. I know it broke me down quite a bit. By the time I was 25 years old, they said my spine looked like I was 85. From 25 to 28 years old, I got even more serious about my practice, and within the next 3 years, I healed my spine pretty much completely. There's a few traces I'm still working on, but let's say 95% healed my spine. And at 55, I'm still working on that 5% and seeing if I can reverse my aging process. All those good things, right? Anyway, and keep up with life. So anyway, gives you a reference. So we want to come out of this state of fight or flight. We want to come out of stress. Qigong gives us a way to do it. We can take it on the road with us. We can do it in the park. We can do it outside if you're like me. During Thanksgiving, everybody's getting ready to eat, and there's David. He's out in the back practicing with the trees again. You know, but what's funny is that along the way, I noticed family members and different people starting to do stuff that they never would have done unless they watched me do it for, you know, the last 10 years plus, you know, so depending on who they are. So got this gentle drum going. This is just such an easy one, and it's really easy because it's easy to remember, it's easy to do, it's easy to practice, and it's easy to bring you back to a more peaceful state because it gets the energy flowing and moving. And let's let it unwind, and let's pause right there. Let's take those middle fingers together, plug them together, hold right down here like you're holding a ball. Let that breath come, let that sigh come. Let those subtle changes in the body come. Hopefully at this point, I know I'm feeling more energized and feeling lighter and feeling more peaceful. I feel a lot more flow in my body. So hopefully you all are too. Now, when you get a little bit better at your practice, a little bit more mindful, a little bit more connected, a little bit more clear, you want to start watching your breath. At this point, not for somebody who's brand new necessarily at all, but somebody who's maybe been around for a little while, practicing for a little while, you want to watch the inhale. You breathe it in, you exhale it. You breathe it in, you exhale it. You're watching it. And if you're that person, whether you're here standing next to me or you're at home, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say the following. What starts to happen is you start realizing my breath is not just my breath. There's something happening in my breath. There's a thickness to it. There's a heat to it. There's a charge to it. My hope for those of you who maybe are interested in Qigong and want to pursue it a little bit further, my hope for you is that you get turned on by that sooner rather than later, because that will already tell you you're no longer a brand new beginner. So if you're already starting to experience this breathing in and out through the nose right now while you're holding this position toward the end of our class here, you know, practicing for an hour and 45 minutes, and you're feeling this charge, and you can hear, because I can hear it in some people's breath around me, I can feel it. As you're breathing that in, as you're exhaling that breath, I want you to notice that, and if you have started to access that, you're no longer a beginner. You've actually stepped up the practice, and I will tell you this, if you're having that experience, it means you've already been practicing for at least a little while, and with this breath, even if it's your very first time of having that breath, you're going to be more addicted to the energy. You're going to be like, what is this? What is this? I don't feel this when I do aerobics. I don't feel this when I run. I don't feel this when I do martial art. I don't feel this when I just sit there and sit by the river, not doing anything, which is a wonderful practice, by the way. But this starts opening the door to Qigong, and it sets up all of us for another chapter, a new chapter, a next level of practice. Go ahead and take an inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale your breath. Second time, inhale, exhale. And just shake your hands out lightly, leave them to the side. Shaking your hands out. And toward the floor, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bring the hands right here. Once again, just accenting this heart space, telling the energy to go there. Just a very short still meditation here before we go into some closing conversation and practice. This will be the closing of, this is the cherry on top of that last little cake we just made right here. Inhale, exhale. Wonderful. Have a seat, make yourself comfortable, get your tea. I'm going to pull my chair over, have a little conversation with you all. Closing thoughts, closing practices, etc. So once again in this transition, let's go right back and start where we started today. I'm going to have you go ahead and take 3 breaths. 1 in through the nose, can be out through the nose or out through the mouth. All right. So, first of all, as I move into our closing, I want to say thanks again to the Love, Peace, Amen Foundation for making this possible. All of that information that I just shared with you and kind of rattled some of it off, hopefully not too fast for you simultaneously, hopefully not too slow. Try to find the best cadence I could with it. But these are things that literally I've spent 40 years looking like for a needle in a haystack to put together a lot of information. In fact, it's quite a bit of information. I wrote a book, you might have heard about it. It's called Qigong for Beginners, Your Path to Greater Health and Vitality. That's a book you might want to check out. If you desire to have some insight into this particular teacher's attitude about life and about how I incorporate Qigong on a mental psychological level, which then leads us into the physical practices of how we might do some of these things. Also, too, there's a program that we put out called 21-Day Qigong Challenge that if you haven't practiced with me at all, this is your first time doing Qigong, this is literally a very easy program. It's like it's 21 days, it's like 10 minutes a day. You could double it if you wanted to, but literally 10 minutes a day of Qigong practice will change your state of peace. And if you change your state of peace, you are going to change what's going on in your life. One of the things that I heard for years as I was trying to heal myself, because one of the reasons that this has such meaning to me and why I'm so drawn to the idea of peace, aside from, I don't know, the obvious, but the reason that I'm so drawn to peace is that I was suffering so much. When I think back to myself at 12 years old, I was suffering so much. The Buddhists really like to emphasize that word in terms of how anxiety, fear, stress, all this comes together. And they sort of like talk about it. Not that I'm Buddhist, I reference that though because it's an easy way for me to reference some of these teachings. And Buddhism does follow in suit, as does Zen Buddhism. They kind of come out of the same roots. A lot of times Qigong is crisscrossed into those practices as well. And then other times Qigong is practiced separately and is practiced side by side with martial art. And in other instances, Qigong is practiced side by side with traditional Chinese medicine. So I've done all of those. So I'll jump from one to the other because it's just become part of who I am, because I've been practicing these things for 40 years. In fact, there's an idea that it kept coming to me the last couple of days, so I'll share that as well, is that Aristotle reportedly said that excellence is an art won by practice and habituation. And actually, does he say practice? I think he does say practice. I think he might have another word there. I think I'm inserting my own, but you can look that up. But anyway, practice and habituation, okay? It's actually, I think he uses the word training and habituation. Yes, he does. So it's excellence is an art won by training and habituation. And I inserted my own word. You just saw me do it. It's like a Freudian slip. Practice, because to me, habits are the things that you practice. And so I wasn't born in this lifetime enlightened, peaceful, never got angry, never got sad, never had grief. I grew up in the school of hard knocks on the level that I did. I had some tough stuff growing up as a child, and then all of a sudden I get run over by a trailer on a hayride and I got a spinal disease, following in suit with my dad, who suffered all kinds of back pain, as did his brother. It was like a generational thing. And there I am suffering with this spinal disease. The doctors are saying, look, you're going to be crippled by the time you're 30 years old. Even after 15 years of practicing these kinds of things, I still had the spinal disease at 25. I think I mentioned that earlier. They said, hey, your spine looks like you're 85. So I'm not coming to you as a guy in a suit. Like sometimes I get the people on YouTube and they're like, oh, great, another Caucasian guy trying to pretend that he's Asian and that he knows everything. I don't know everything. I do I have put in my dues. I have black belts in different disciplines. I've trained with various masters, and I've trained for 40 years. But I also healed the spine. I also healed the panic disorder. I also studied a lot of Western things and Eastern things, and I did it selfishly, but I love to give it all to you as best I can selflessly, because suffering hurts. And I have compassion for all of you who are suffering, because suffering hurts. And when we're hurting and when we're suffering, even if we are well-meaning people, we tend to hurt other people. We hurt them physically, we hurt them emotionally, we hurt them psychologically, even when we're well-meaning people and we don't want to. We say things to our children that we would never say if we were in our right mind. We say things to our spouses, whatever, family members, mothers, fathers, cousins. We say it at Thanksgiving, whatever. I use that reference because I went to a lot of functions as a child, and there was a lot of things that I wanted to say. I was like, man, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say that I'm hurting, and I'm gonna tell everybody a thing. And I said, no. I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna practice my breathing. I'm gonna do my Qigong. I'm gonna come back in, and I have to save that for another program. But you can check out some of the other programs. But where I talk about this, because I talk about it a lot. Then I start my whispering. In some of my programs, I talk about the fact that we're all psychic. Everybody can hear on the level of the mind what you're saying to them. So then, as I talk about as well in my book, I offer you love, I offer you light, I offer you joy, I offer you peace, I offer you kindness, I offer you compassion. And I just repeat it. But I say it from my heart, because we're in this together. Jesus is one of those teachers. The Buddha said the same thing, but it had some slightly different language. But Jesus said, as you give, so shall you receive, right? So if you want peace, what do you got to do? You have to give it. But in order to give it, you have to have it in your pocket. And if you don't have it in your pocket, how are you going to get it? Steal it? You're going to go steal peace? People try all the time to steal peace. You can't steal peace. Nobody's going to get... And we get upset with the people in our lives. We do. Why is this person not giving me their love? Why is this person not giving me the get out of jail free card? Why is this person not offering me peace? Why is this person not rubbing my feet, rubbing my shoulders, taking care of me, massaging my head, whatever the thing is? Why? Fill yourself up with peace. Qigong is a way to do it. Find a way to come back to yourself, and you will realize that the sweetest thing that you ever get to do, I know it sounds nice and it's harder to discover, but I'm going to be as honest with you as I can. I started doing all of this stuff that I do because I selfishly wanted to heal myself. I was angry at my parents and angry at the world around me, and I had a major deficiency of love and acceptance. I did. It wasn't coming from the outside, not in the way that I wanted it. So I decided, I'm going to try this Eastern route. I'm going to learn to love and accept myself in all of its forms. All of its forms. Man, back in the day, if I was in high school, I'd be so embarrassed today. My dad passed a couple of years ago, a little over a year ago. And I've had a hard time with letting the energy come up, and being even with it. And so lately, I end up with this ugly pimple right here on my eye. You can zoom the camera in, Taylor. No, you don't need to. I'm just kidding. But they can see it already. I end up with this ugly pimple on my eye called a sty. It's when a tear duct gets blocked. Okay? And here I am going through the grief with my father. So your body and your outer life symbolizes the lack of peace that you have within yourself. And whether it's a sty in your eye, or that's such a metaphor for everything in our lives that comes to you as a challenge. It's ugly, you don't like it, you want it to go away. But if you embrace it with your Qigong, take all of it into your Qigong practice. Take your sadness, take your grief, take your agitation, take everything into your practice and have what I like to call some power timeouts. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 10 minutes here. If you can squeeze in an hour, wow, you're starting to gain some momentum, whatever. But whatever you can do, 5 years from now, you're probably still going to be here. A lot of you, 10 years from now, you're probably still going to be here. Some of you will be here 20 years from now, okay? Some of you might even be listening to this when I'm gone. I don't know. Do something today that's going to make a difference about that. As you give, so shall you receive. But it's not just give peace to other people. You have to give it to yourself first. If I don't take care of me, and I don't have peace, I wouldn't be here teaching you what I'm teaching you today, because I would have way too many problems that would have kept me from doing this again. And I've done this 1,000 times now. And yet I could have a long list of all kinds of reasons why I couldn't be here today, but they would all start with one thing: a lack of peace. So you can know something about what I'm up to. Again, not that I'm better than anybody else, but you can know something about what I'm up to if you want to take anything that I'm sharing, anything that I'm teaching. You got to know that I must be practicing, because otherwise I could not pull this off. And I sure as heck couldn't have been pulling it off for the last 20, 40 years. Without practice. And let's do an obvious here. Do you all think that after 40 years, 40, do you think after 40 years of what I would call some dedicated practice, that's very relative, everybody can have 5 minutes versus an hour, whatever. But after 40 years of dedicated practice, you think it made any difference? With the story that I told you, do you think it made any difference? Do you think I'm any better at the practices now than I used to be? Am I any different than any person here? Does anybody, I don't know, have more pain, more suffering? There are probably a few people who do than what I had. But it wasn't easy, and yet this made it so much easier. This is not running up mountains. This is not slaying dragons. This is practicing breath. This is coming back to yourself. This is exercising your body, which you need to do anyway, right? So hopefully you learned some things here today. Look at that, 12:01. I'm right on time. All right. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all for coming. Thanks again to the Love, Peace, Amen Foundation. Thank you for every single one of you who's watching this live. I love it when you come live. I also love it when you watch it later, because I can have a great idea. I can think it's genius. I can heal myself, which I did to the degree that I did. But man, if 1,000 other people like you do it, I know you're going to be more peaceful. And if you're more peaceful, you're going to bring that peace to your families. You're going to bring it to your kids. You're going to bring it to your spouses. You're going to bring it to your lovers, your friends. You're going to bring it to work. And this is the only way, in my opinion, and a lot of other spiritual teachers' opinions, this is the only way we're going to have world peace. They're not going to stop warring over there until we stop warring in our own families, in our own neighborhoods, in our own communities, in our own school systems, etc. It starts with you. Hope to see you again for practice. Have a splendid day, and thank you very much. Thank you.